Well, good morning. Welcome to another episode of Papa's Workshops. These are for Adam, Brady, Luke, and Brenna. But before we get started, we're going to need to check in with my assistant. There she is. Oh, get out of the way. Ready for a little treat? You ready to get to work today? All right, we're going to get to work. All right. Today's episode is just going to be past projects. I'm still in between projects, still haven't quite decided. It probably won't start on another project till December. We got all the holidays coming up, so. This episode, I'm going to show you the two projects that got me started on doing the reproductions or Chippendale 18th century style furniture. And the first one is a footstool that was taught, was a class at the Kansas City Woodworkers Guild taught by Calvin Hobbs. And his father, Ben Hobbs, is a furniture maker in one of the Carolinas. I don't remember right offhand, but he's pretty well known in the furniture, period furniture makers. So let's look at the close-up of this. All right, there's the footstool. And this was my first actual period piece. So this is the ball and claw. This is a Philadelphia style ball and claw. This is my first time doing this. So I was pretty pleased. It came out pretty well. And this is out of mahogany, but it was dyed pretty dark. Let's see, we got shells on there. We got the shell on the front. This didn't really replicate a particular piece, but just in general. And we've got our pegs in there. And then this is a slip seat. So this just comes up and off. And there's a picture of the inside. And there's the date. I did this was in 2012, so I've only been doing these reproductions for the last 10, 11 years. So let's see what else we got here. No shell on the other side. So pretty nice lines, but there's my first attempt at the carabao legs and the knees that have to be glued on. First time I've done any of that, so it was pretty good. Now the other companion to this is a chair, also taught by Calvin Hobbs at the Kansas City Woodworkers Guild, but several years later. So let's take a look at that. Here's an overall, if I can get back far enough. Overall look at the chair. This is from the Hollingsworth family. It was attributed to Thomas Affleck, who was a famous Philadelphia furniture maker back in the 1700s. And the original was thought to have been made around 1770. So let's take some close-ups here. Again, you see it's got some similarities to the footstool. We've got the Philadelphia style ball and claw. These are out of walnut. And again, this was a class taught by Calvin Hobbs at the Kansas City Woodworkers Guild, and we did this in 2016. And I was still working at that point. I didn't retire till late in 2017. So these kinds of projects take a lot of time, so it's hard to do when you're still working. But you can see the details of the carving. Again, this is my first time carving all of that on the knee. And the second time doing the ball and claw after the footstool. And the same shell we had on the other. And this is a slip seat again, I can get it out of there. So there's the inside. And so we've got the back splat. That's all had to be carved. So that was cut out of one piece that was I think like 6/4. I don't think it was quite 8/4, but you can see there's that it's bowed. So we had to cut that curve and then plane it down to be this thickness, and then carve it. So there's the back legs. So that was all out of 8/4. Of course, you've got to carve that piece, and then you've got the top. So there's a tenon up into there, and then a tenon up into there. And so that all has to be fitted. This is a very challenging piece, and I hope to do some more chairs like this at some point. It's one of my options for my next project is a table and chairs, but that's such a big project, and after just finishing the big project, I think I really need to do something a little less taxing. So again, I was really pleased with how this came out, and there weren't many of us in the class that actually finished this. There was just a handful in the class, but I think it was only one other fellow that finished his chair, because it does take a lot of work. But it's a very nice piece. I don't know what else to say. There's the side view. And of course we've got we've got mortise and tenons in here, but if you look, let's see if you can see that, but this is at an angle in, so it doesn't of course the camera makes it look like it's square. But it's actually narrower in the back than it is in the front, so you've got this angle that the mortise and tenons have to go through, and I think those went all the way through in the back, if I remember right. Yes, you can just barely see. It's all the way through, and then wedges put into. So, very nice piece. So now, well, this is what really got me started. So we'll look at some other projects that I did before we started recording videos, and then we'll get ready to start another project. Until then, enjoy making your sawdust. Here's a third piece. I decided to include this just because it kind of ties into the other two. This was a class at the Kansas City Woodworkers Guild that was taught by Ben Hobbs, Calvin's dad. He was there for a week, and we did this spice box, and was actually someone had made a suggestion to make a spice box, but I have done that. So this was done in 2018. So the footstool was what, 2012. The chair was 16, and then this was in 2018. And so all of my other reproductions were after this piece. And in between there, I did take some different classes at Mark Adams' school to learn about hand tools and finishing and design with Graham Blackburn. So I was busy in between these projects, but really things started taking off after this one, because this was just after I retired. So let's take a look. So we have the bracket feet. course, you know, the size, this is much smaller than the other case pieces. So this is all out of walnut, and we've got the dovetails on the top. And the thing with the spice cabinets is that they were usually decorated more on the inside than the outside. I just did a little carving of the letter S, and then the walnut burl veneer on the drawers. And they're pretty tight. Look at these little drawers. But you push one in and then another one comes out. Kind of air holes back behind there. So let's see. So we have to put the hinges at an angle, kind of like we did on the secretary, so that the drawers will miss the barrel. So there, if you can see, there's kind of buried at an angle. Yeah, there you can kind of see. It's tight back there, but there's a lip here. So you have to do that on purpose. And of course, you've got the, you know, this part here, you have to kind of shape that by hand. You can do some of it with a router, but you know, you can't obviously get into those corners that way. Let's take a look at the back. It's got actually have screws in there. I did that so that I could take this back off, and I was going to nail it at some point, which I probably could do now. I was waiting to make sure everything was going to, I didn't have to make some adjustments on the drawers. There's the bottom. So the Hobbs family helped me get past these three pieces, and the next time I'll show you my first piece I did on my own. It's not actually a reproduction, but it's in the same style. So we'll get into that next time. But so there we have it. Enjoy your woodworking journey.